What up, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about crowdfunding, but also how to bring a new product into the world, how to ethically dominate an entire category, how to bring something into the world and positively impact other people with your new product, your new idea, your business. And I think that, at the end of the day, really it's about helping people reach their full potential. That's really what my goal is when it comes to being a YouTuber, when it comes to being an influencer, when it comes to being an expert, right? My goal is to help you reach your full potential as a creator, as a businessman, as an e-commerce store owner, as a crowdfunder, whatever it is. And in today's video, we're gonna be talking about how to unlock your potential by harnessing the power of influencers to promote your product and your brand. And let's get into it right now. So in layman's terms, how do you get an influencer to actually promote your product or to cover your brand or to feature you in some way in their content? Now, I wouldn't even necessarily say that I am an influencer. Other people have called me an influencer. I have had random experiences where I'm in a cafe and I've actually run into a YouTube viewer before or someone who's listened to my podcast, and it's one of the most crazy experiences ever. So there are little experiences like that, but I really more so consider myself a guide or a coach or a teacher, really someone who can help you step by step go through an incredibly complex process. And in this case, that's going to be getting the attention of an influencer and getting their buy-in to actually cover you. So let's first of all kind of put this into a couple different categories. The first category that I want to highlight is really pay for play, which is paying an influencer to actually put out a video on YouTube that covers your product, or putting you in a blog post, or even covering you on a podcast. There's sort of the pay to play game, and there's more of the organic game, right? So when it comes to pay to play, this is really about just understanding the influencer economy and being willing to actually have a budget to be able to invest into getting someone to do a story on you or to put out content. I would say that if you are going to go down that route of pay to play, you also have to be very aware of what the benefits, functionality, and promises that you want to highlight when it comes to your business or your product. Because again, an influencer just has a channel, right? They just have a YouTube video channel, they just have a podcast, they just have a blog, they just have an email list, right? They just have a marketing channel, but you really are the ones who are going to have to provide them with what you want them to say. So I want to focus this video a little bit more on actually the second point. Right, and the second point is, how do you do this organically? How do you get an influencer to talk about you more organically, or not necessarily pay for play? So there's a couple of different steps which I'm going to outline. The first is that you need to build a relationship. Now, this is incredibly important, and that's because if you just go to someone and you try to get them to write a story, or you try to get them to do a YouTube video, or you try to get them to write a blog article about your product when you need it most, it usually comes off as extremely spammy, extremely very me-centric, right? If you want to get someone to do something for you, you should always start with building up a little bit of a relationship ahead of time before you make that ask or that favor, right? Which you're really asking for someone to do. And again, if you just kind of do it right now, right then and there, it's going to seem very spammy. And again, it seems well, why didn't you reach out before? Did you actually even like my content? Do you even like my channel? Or are you just trying to use my channel as a conduit to broadcast your own messages, right? You have to build a relationship first. So step number one is that if you do have an influencer which you want to reach and you want to have them do an organic piece at some point in time, start with building a relationship. What does building a relationship look like? Building a relationship goes beyond just sending people messages. It's also just engaging with their content, telling them what you like about what it is that they're doing, upvoting them, helping them in different ways, introducing them to other people, right? There are different ways in which you can build a relationship with that particular influencer so that they are actually receiving some benefits from you before you're actually asking something of them. I think this is so incredibly important. And I think that building a relationship is one of the best ways in which not only can you get someone at least to even do you a favor, but even to just share your campaign or share your product with their audience in a small way, even on their Facebook page, right? A lot of easy ways which you can build a relationship to have a great outcome. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. The second step is that you want to build your story or credibility. I call this like your reservoir of credibility with that particular influencer, or if you want to call it like a target, right? So what do I mean by that? I mean that you don't want to just be like the crazy person who just really loves their content or something like that, right? You really want to build a story of you executing, of you pulling together designs, of you pulling together and taking action on the story, of you then getting investors, of you maybe then building an initial prototype, of getting feedback on that prototype, of building out a campaign page if you're doing a Kickstarter or something like that. You need to build a history of actually following through, of having something go from nothing to really becoming a full-fledged idea. And the more that you build up your credibility in the eyes of that influencer, the more legit you seem, the more willing they are to introduce you, your concept, your business, your brand, your product to their community. The last thing they want to do is vouch for someone who turns out to be not legit or not have a good product, or it's just kind of, it's all smoke and mirrors, right? So in addition to building a relationship, you also need to build up your credibility, which comes in the factor of things like, what you're doing, showing them results as you're going, getting feedback as you're going, testimonials even, and I would say even minor things like other media mentions. In addition, when it comes to credibility, social proof is king when it comes to this. So social proof is just showing that other people are also interested and curious about what it is that you're doing. Step number 3 is actually much overlooked, I would say. And I do think it's overlooked for a reason. That's because it's kind of more one of those like soft skills, if that makes sense. And that's creating an alignment between what your values and vision are when it comes to your organization, or even your personal ones, with that of the audience's objective that you're targeting, and the objectives and the goals and the vision of the influencer. So what do I mean by that? I mean that an influencer is way more likely to promote a product that they ethically agree with the values of a company that they also agree with, and has a really cool company vision that they themselves are also excited about. And every time I say this, people are like, nah, does vision really matter? If you even think about some of the people who are the richest people on this planet, like Elon Musk, if you think about his vision, not only does it get him excited, but it inspires scores of employees, tons of investors, and people worldwide to help him reach that vision, right? So vision is so incredibly important, as are values. And when you have vision and values that align with the audience that you're going after, it makes them much easier to sell. And that influencer themselves also starts to get excited about what it is that you're doing. My next tip, or my next step, is to get them involved. Someone who is involved is far more likely to fight on behalf of a product, or even just view themselves as being part of the same team, right? If you involve an influencer in the creation, in the development, in the marketing of the campaign itself or the product, they are far more likely then to also consider promoting it within their own channels. So what does involved look like? Involved could be as simple as asking for feedback in a critical stage. It could be asking for their thoughts, their wisdom, their guidance. It could be just involving them in the things that you're doing in order to move this project forward, and some cool milestones that are happening. I would say like the kernel or the crux of getting an influencer involved is to actually send them a product which they can review. And if you do that, or you allow them to experience a service, right, what you're trying to promote, and allow them to review it honestly, that's really, in my opinion, gold, right? That's the easiest way to get an influencer to consider doing a piece or a publication, or put out some content about your product, is if they can actually review it. So I have one other tip that I wanted to share with you on this video, but before I do, if you are struggling with getting media attention, getting influencers to cover you, and even just getting any kind of pickup when it comes to bloggers, journalists, etc., I put together actually a free course on PR, which is designed to help you get media hits, to get you in the media, to get people talking about you, to start to get headlines when it comes to your product, your story, and your business. And this is really tailored for people that want to get and build their brand over time. So if that sounds interesting to you, I will link up the free course down below at crowdcrux.com/PR. This is great if you're trying to get into the media, get some media hits, or you're doing a crowdfunding campaign and you want to get media attention for that. Go and check out this link down below at crowdcrux.com/PR. My final tip for you is more so around the mindset when it comes to getting an influencer to do a piece on you. And that's a lot of the times we can kind of get really discouraged, right, when it comes to doing influencer outreach. This is simultaneous. You kind of need to juggle two different mindsets. One mindset is that you really only need one or two influencers who have a decent following to do any kind of piece on you, or to say something nice about you, or to put out content on their channel about you, to have a massive effect on your campaign when it comes to traffic, traffic or a huge effect when it comes to credibility of your product, right? Really only need one or two. But simultaneously, you need to also have the mindset that you're going to continue to crank through that Rolodex. And you're not going to really judge yourself if a couple of people don't reply to your emails, maybe. Or maybe you have to hit them up again. Use a great tool like Boomerang. This is one of the tools that I talk about in that free course at crowdcrux.com/PR. Boomerang is a great tool. You can see whether or not even people open your emails, right? So don't be afraid of being a tiny bit pushy, but just being persistent, playing a numbers game. And again, not judging yourself too much if maybe someone doesn't reply to your email and maybe someone says something not so great about the product. Be willing to have an open mind, plow through, evaluate it, right? And really always appreciate the people that are giving you feedback every step of the way. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do really want to supercharge your campaign, if you're doing an upcoming Kickstarter campaign or crowdfunding campaign, I also have a great book out there called The Kickstarter Launch Formula. This is available on Audible, on Amazon, and I will link you up down below in the description. But if nothing else, if you like this content, you like my teaching style, the way they put out content every single week on many different topics related to marketing and really plowing your business forward. In addition, some of the podcasts that I publish weekly, and you want to get a notification, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. And if you did like this video, give me a thumbs up so I can produce more content just like this. Thank you so much. My name is Salvador Briggman, and I will see you next time.